So thanks, John, for inviting us out. I'm Greg Lamp. I'm a co-founder at Yhat, and Yhat is a platform for data scientists to take analytical code and embed it in production software systems. We are fairly new, launched in 2013, headquartered in Brooklyn, and we recently closed our seed round, which was led by RE Ventures. So I just threw out a couple of buzzwords, data science, analytics, production software. It's all might seem a little jargony, but I think the best way to really understand the problem that we're tackling is just to walk you through a really basic use case. So let's say we've got this guy, his name's Trey, and Trey's a data scientist, and he works for a e-commerce retailer. And Trey's probably going to be really good at SQL, he might be good at Excel, and he's got a quantitative background, knows math, knows statistics, and he's also going to know a scientific computing language like R or Python, or in the paid programming languages, MATLAB, SAS might also be familiar with. And a typical project for Trey might go something like this. His boss comes in to work, says, "Hey Trey, we need to reduce churn on the site." And Trey's given a database. It has a bunch of user records, which pages they visited, which products they might have purchased on the site, and the lineup for the website's new product line for Christmas. And so Trey goes to work, heads back to his desk, and he's going to be looking through the data. He's going to be using SQL, running some scripts, probably importing stuff to Excel. And then ultimately, what he's going to do is he's going to bring everything into a scientific computing environment like R or Python. And from there, he's going to build some plots and charts, and he's also going to build a model. And a model is really just a quantitative way of predicting either a business problem or an event or something in general in the real world. And so what Trey comes up with is he's got this really cool classifier. He can take it, he can look at different users for the site, and based off of that user behavior, he can predict whether or not they're going to convert and purchase certain items. So he talks to his boss about it. They're like, "Oh, this is awesome. We can use this, and we can offer coupons and different variety of copy or advertisements to different to different customers." And it worked great on the site. So let's go ahead and do that. So Trey. Next step is, all right, I've got this model. It's predicting and assigning probabilities to different users. How do we actually put it on the site? And so, it's going to have to talk to the engineering team. And a lot of these conversations, they don't go very smoothly. You have analytical work, which is done in a certain particular type of environment, like we said, R, Python, MATLAB, that sort of thing. And then you have your production quality, ready to deploy web stack or production software systems, and that's something like maybe Ruby on Rails, if you're familiar with that, or Java Hibernate. Some of these more production-ready systems, and the result is that there's really no way for Trey's model to be used on the website without this really long and kind of throw it over the wall process of getting your analytics actually into a position where they can drive business and help drive revenue. And so as a result, you kind of have this now what moment where nobody really knows what to do next. There's a lot of engineering overhead involved in actually taking this analytical thing and putting it into the website. And so this is where most analytical work just gets abandoned. And so that's what we're working on at Yhat. So we're hyper-focused on making it really easy to kind of take your analytical work and push it over the finish line. We provide a lightweight API. It plugs into R, it plugs into Python, and it's used as kind of a glue between your analytical work and your production software systems. And so just to kind of take you through that same use case again, give you a quick demo, and just keep in mind kind of like Trey and his problem, and we're going to be applying it to something that I think everyone should be able to relate to. So, I don't know if any of you have ever been to beeradvocate.com, but it's a consumer website. They provide kind of like Yelp for beer. You can log on, you can say something about a particular beer. I really like Sierra Nevada, so take a look at this page. Say how much you like the beer, how it smells, how it tastes. You can even say where you drink it, or provide some commentary. But let's pretend for a minute that I'm a product manager at this company, at Beer Advocate. And in order to try and drive more engagement on the site, I want to build something like a Pandora for beer, where someone is on the site, sees, oh, here's Sierra Nevada, but oh, they don't have it at this bar that I'm at. What other beer might I like to drink? And so you can imagine there might be a little widget somewhere in here where I, as a user, could see other beers that be recommended to me. And so, as a product manager, I go to Trey and say, hey Trey, here's some data. It's probably going to look something like this. Beer Advocate actually open sourced their reviews, so we have access to them. Looks something like this. You've got a bunch of beers, whoops, people who rated them, reviews, ratings, etc., etc. And so what Trey might do is bring all that into something like R. I'm not going to bore you with walking through this code. You can just kind of glaze over it and just know that Trey has built this really cool recommender that you can give him a new beer, and he's going to say, hey, here are 10 more beers that you're also probably going to like. And so back to my old product management. What you really want, something like this. You got a little widget. Obviously I don't have access to the Beer Advocate site, but you can imagine it might be something like this, where I can say, hey, I really like Fat Tire. You can provide certain taste preferences, so maybe I really care about overall taste of the beer, don't care so much about aroma, and don't really care about color. Kind of like the Netflix movie profile. And you can have a little widget that's suggesting new beers for you. You can play with it, mess around with it. Not the most scientific thing in the world, but the kind of thing that can drive more user engagement and have people spend more time on the site. So I just sort of skipped ahead there, but what the real question is how do we take this web app and sort of link it up to what Trey has done in R? And so the solution that we provide makes it as easy as Trey goes into the R script that he's already written, and he just types in deploy. We have plugins, as we said, for R and for Python. Hits deploy, runs the command, and that model and all this code that you see is going to be compiled and structured and deployed into a format where his model can be used from any other programming environment. So take a look here. Oops. Okay, so we've got our app here. We provide some applications just sort of around our product just to make it a little bit easier to use, easier to manage. You can see that we've got our beer recommender here. Got some other models, basic metadata. One of the things that's really important to us is sort of just the managing of analytics and of analytical work. I don't know if any of you have ever been an analyst or worked with analysts, but you might know that there's some processes where there's one guy that knows how to run this certain script at this certain time every single day, and if that guy gets sick or that woman gets sick, the whole company kind of goes into turmoil because it's like, well, Trey's not here to run the script. Like, how do we make more recommendations, or how are we going to assign risk quantiles for our portfolio? And so having it all here in a centralized environment where you can look at different versions of, oops, there we go. You can look at the different versions. It's all going to be easy to manage. We provide, there we go. We have integrations with R so that you can actually just pop open. You can download source, pop everything open, and it's going to be integrated within your R environment. And then in addition, we provide multiple ways to consume your analytics. So what you're seeing in the app here is we're just making a basic RESTful API call where we're just within JavaScript, pinging our server, getting some results back. But we also provide a, we also provide a batch mode, so you can have anyone come in, upload a CSV or Excel file that'll be run against your model, and that'll be available for download or email. And then in addition, we have a streaming API that addresses if you have any concerns with latency between requests, or you have something high frequency. It's a good use case for that. Okay, so just to kind of drive home a couple points, we're all about making it super easy to take your analytics and actually use it. And that could mean embedding it as a widget, that could mean running it in a production system, it could mean having a model be available for an analyst to look at in a web app. In addition, you mentioned just version control, managing your analytics, making sure that it's all there so that if someone goes on vacation, you're not going to miss a beat. And then in addition, we also provide some services just around reporting and measuring efficacy, looking for changes in your data so that you'll know if any of the models or analytics you have are actually broken. You can see it and catch it before it actually becomes a big problem. So with that, open it up to any questions anyone has.
Who's your typical customer size? I mean, is it like medium and large enterprise, or you deal with any startups?
Yeah, we do mainly startups and small and medium enterprise. Work with a lot of e-commerce retailers, fintech. A lot of those in New York as well. And then for whatever reason, we've had a lot of interest from online dating sites. Didn't really think that would really be a response, but
Yhat Tinder algorithm.
There you go, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I guess online dating sites need to make a lot of recommendations. So.
Any kind of interesting or unique use cases or customer stories?
We had one woman. She built a model for predicting Google AdWords efficacy, and so she used something called Google Scripts. I'd never actually heard of it, and sort of put us in between the Google AdWords call and like her pricing model. It's kind of cool.
How is your pricing model?
Sure. So we have a yearly license. The floor is 10,000, and then it goes up from there, just based off of users and user licenses.
How'd you guys go about acquiring your first sort of group of customers?
That's a good question. So we have a very strong open source presence, and through our blog as well. We have a data science blog that gets a lot of traffic, and it attracts the sort of people that are actually interested in using our product. And in addition, I mentioned we have a few open source libraries and packages that are useful for people who are heavy R or Python users. All right, well, thanks, and thanks again, John.
Thanks.